Hi, I'm back in my story corner. I have with me my big teddy bear. Oh, he's so fun to cuddle. And he's going to stay by us while we do some more stories today on this wintry day. Okay, let's put him over here. I can sit and listen. Okay, since it's a really cold day outside, I thought we'd read some books from the Frozen movie. I found a whole set of these, and I can't wait to read them. This one is called Best Friends. In the land of Arendelle, many different people dwell. Elsa, there's a magic queen with eyes of blue, a funny little snowman, too. Kristoff and Anna, you'll find a princess with a plan and a trusty mountain man. A reindeer who is always true and kind and smart and happy, too. His name is Sven. Each of them has something rare, a special bond that they all share. Sven and Kristoff are like brothers. They're devoted to each other. Olaf braved a red-hot fire to save someone that he admires. Elsa left in a swirl of snow, but Anna would not let her go. Kristoff showed his love was real when he brought Anna home to heal. Their story has a happy end, for they truly are the best of friends. The end. Let's do another story from Frozen. This one is called Ice is Nice. Ice is nice for those who skate, and reindeer think that snow is great. Ice is nice for those who sled or start a snowball fight instead. But way up north it can be tough to wrap up snug and warm enough. A warm coat shields against the snows, and so do boots with curled up toes. Some folks think there's nothing better than a brightly colored sweater. When it gets frosty, freezing cold, it helps to have a hand to hold. But even the most wintry weather doesn't stay around forever. Sun is fun for those who think that nothing beats a cooling drink. When the sun shines bright and hot, it's fun to find a sandy spot. And if it starts to get too warm, it helps to have a private storm. The end. This one is called A Royal Visit. For months, Elsa and Anna have been planning a royal visit to 3 neighboring kingdoms. Now it's time to go. The sisters' first stop is Zaria, with a warm seaside welcome from King Stibor and Queen Renalia. Zaria is known for its ever-blooming gardens. At a party that evening, flowers fill the royal ballroom with color and perfume. Lilies, roses, and bright blue bellflowers, says Elsa at dinner. I've never seen such beautiful flowers at this time of year. Not even in Arendelle? Asked Queen Renalia. Arendelle is too snowy for year-round flowers, says Anna. Next, the sisters sail to Chatho, where Queen Colisa takes them on a tour. Our parks are filled with wild creatures, Colisa tells Anna and Elsa. Here you see Chatho's national animal, the sloth, Serendipitous. Do you have sloths in Arendelle? Arendelle isn't warm enough for sloths, said Anna, but we have lots of reindeer. At Vacreta, their last stop, Anna and Elsa are treated to the city's famous lemonade. Elsa adds a special touch to each glass. Magical ice. Do you drink lemonade in Arendelle? Asked the mayor. We're more of a hot chocolate kind of kingdom, said Anna. Soon the sisters are sailing back to Arendelle. What lovely neighbors we have, said Anna. But I can't wait to go home. Elsa smiles. Won't you miss the year-round roses, the smiling sloths, and frosty lemonade? She asks. Yes, but I'll miss our snowball fights even more, says Anna, and Gerda's crumb cakes and adventures with Sven. Elsa laughs. I know, she replies, because no matter how amazing other people's kingdoms may be, and they can be awfully amazing, Anna says, there's no place like home, the sisters say together, with or without the sloths. The end. Next, we're going to read a story about a pig. It's called Some Pig. He's so cute, isn't he? Fern loved Wilbur more than anything. She loved to stroke him and feed him and put him to bed. Every morning, as soon as she got up, she warmed his milk, tied his bib on, and held the bottle for him. Every afternoon, when the school bus stopped in front of her house, Fern jumped out and ran to the kitchen to fix another bottle for him. She fed him again at supper time, and again just before going to bed. Mrs. Arabelle gave him a feeding around noontime each day when Fern was away at school. Wilbur loved his milk, and he was never happier than when Fern was warming up a bottle for him. He would stand and gaze up at her with adoring eyes. For the first few days of his life, Wilbur was allowed to live in a box near the stove in the kitchen. Then, when Mrs. Arabelle complained, he was moved to a bigger box in the woodshed. At 2 weeks of age, he was moved outdoors. It was apple blossom time and the days were getting warmer. Mr. Arabelle fixed a small yard, especially for Wilbur, under the apple tree, and he gave him a large wooden box full of straw with a doorway cut in it so he could walk in and out as he pleased. "Won't he be cold at night?" said Fern. "No," said her father. "You watch and see what he does." Carrying a bottle of milk, Fern sat down under the apple tree inside the yard. Wilbur ran to her and she held the bottle for him while he sucked. When he had finished the last drop, he grunted and he walked sleepily into the box. Fern peered through the door. Wilbur was poking the straw with his snout. In a short time, he had dug a tunnel in the straw. Fern was enchanted. It relieved her mind to know that her baby pig would sleep covered up and he would stay warm. Every morning after breakfast, Wilbur walked out to the road with Fern and waited with her till the bus came. She would wave goodbye to him, and he would stand and watch the bus until it disappeared around the turn. When Fern was in school, Wilbur was shut up inside the yard. But as soon as she got home, she'd take him out and he would follow her around the place. If she went into the house, Wilbur went too. If she went upstairs, Wilbur would wait at the bottom step till she came down again. If she took her doll for a walk in the doll carriage, Wilbur followed along. Sometimes on those journeys, Wilbur would get tired, and Fern would pick him up and put him in the carriage alongside the doll. He liked this, and if he was very tired, he would close his eyes and go to sleep under the doll's blanket. He looked cute when his eyes were closed because his lashes were so long. The doll would close her eyes too, and Fern would wheel the carriage very slowly and smoothly so as not to wake up her babies. One warm afternoon, Fern and Avery put on bathing suits and went down to the brook for a swim. Wilbur tagged along at Fern's heels. When she waded into the brook, Wilbur waded in with her. He found the water quite cold, too cold for his liking. So while the children swam and played and splashed at each other, Wilbur amused himself in the mud along the edge of the brook where it was very warm and moist and delightfully sticky and oozy. There he is in the mud. That's where he wants to be. Every day was a happy day, and every night was peaceful. Wilbur was what farmers call a spring pig, which simply means he was born in the springtime. When he was 5 weeks old, Mr. Arable said he was now big enough to sell, and he would have to be sold. Fern broke down and cried, but her father was firm about it. Wilbur's appetite had increased. He was beginning to eat scraps of food in addition to milk. Mr. Arable was not willing to provide for him any longer. He had already sold Wilbur's 10 brothers and sisters. "He's got to go, Fern," Father said. "You have had your fun raising a baby pig, but Wilbur is not a baby any longer, and he's got to be sold." "Call up the Zuckermans," suggested Mrs. Arable to Fern. "Your Uncle Homer sometimes raises a pig, and if Wilbur goes there to live, you can walk down the road and visit him as often as you like." "How much money should I ask for him?" "Well," said her father, "he's a runt. Tell your Uncle Homer you've got a pig you'll sell for $6 and see what he says." Soon it was arranged. Fern phoned and got her Auntie Edith, and her Aunt Edith hollered for Uncle Homer, and Uncle Homer came in from the barn and talked to Fern. When he heard that the price was only $6, he said he would buy the pig. The next day, Wilbur was taken from his home under the apple tree and went to live in a manure pile in the cellar of the Zuckerman's barn. And that's where Fern got to visit him often and cuddle him, take walks with him, and just enjoy their time together. I hope you like that story of some pig. Let's do another Frozen story. A Royal Visit. Oh, I think we read this one, didn't we? Yes, we did read this one. Okay, we gotta find a different story. Here's a story about fishing. My grandchildren, Dag and Leona, love to fish, so I think they're really going to enjoy this story. Andy yawned as he crawled out of the tent. His dad was cooking eggs over the campfire. "Are you and Reed ready to start fishing?" he said. They walked down the dirt road. "Look, Andy," Reed yelled. "There's a hawk with a mouse in its claws." Andy was glad his best friend could come fishing for the first time with him. "Do you boys want to drive this boat?" asked Andy's dad with a yawn. "Sure," they both said. They set out on the lake with a slow crawl. "Can't this thing go any faster?" said Reed. "Hey, Dad," said Andy, "we forgot to lift the anchor." Mr. Dean laughed and rubbed his jaw. "I told you boys, you are running the show." "The law says you can only have 5 fish," Andy told Reed. They waited for the night crawlers to draw the hungry catfish. "Look, I see a fawn and some deer." "By those trees," Reed whispered. Where? Said Andy. See that brown-colored one with white spots? Reed answered. I think I caught a big one, yelled Andy. He fell, sprawling out on the bottom of the boat. He was still holding on to the rod. Mr. Dean slipped the rowfish into the icebox. We can thaw them tonight, he said. Andy and Reed put a thick shawl around their shoulders as Mr. Dean lit the campfire. What do you think of fishing? Andy said. Oh, it only has one problem, said Reed. I didn't know I could be this tired after a day of fishing. I bet they slept good in the tent that night. Well, thanks for listening to Storytime. I'm looking forward to doing it again with you real soon. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Bye.